Okay, this is part 2 of cit250 project 3, and I realize I keep calling it. I put a folder here for project 2. It's actually project 3. Oh well, we're purposely being misleading and mysterious or just stupid. There's a fine line. All right, so where I'm at, I've got the the hashes ls. Here's if I look at the not shadow, or it actually is shadow. If I look at the shadow file from the server we're attacking, these are the hashes. Those are the hashes. But the way John works is John wants to, or John the Ripper, or John for short. That's the program is John right there, as you can see. It is a very complex program. You can do a lot of this. You can spend a lot of time mastering John the Ripper. All right. There's that. But that's what we're going to use. But one of the things the way John works on this is it needs both files combined. So the command is called unshadow. And I got to remember, I think you put the shadow first. I'm going to check my notes. Nope, you put the password first. This is why you check your notes. Unshadow password, which is what we have here, and then not shadow. So all this does, and then I'm going to output the file over to, I'm going to call it good to, we'll put to go. All right. Before I did the number 2, and John tends to save its sessions, so I like to give it a unique file name. So in this case, I'll call it good to go, and I'm combining them into a file. Now I have a file called good to go. If I do a cat on that, you'll see it's kind of all combined into one file. All right, if you looked really carefully, it grabbed some data from password and combined it with data from not shadow, particularly the username, so it can grab all that information. All right, because what's going to happen is now John, and what we'll do is we're going to use John. We're going to word list. We have our word list we spent time and effort on. Although I should make sure I add something, because I changed the password. There you go. I'm going to save that. Alright, so that would be my word list. Now John automatically is going to go through and actually look for usernames. So you don't need to guess at usernames. It will figure it out based off what it was in there. Yeah, actually, tell you what. Let's just use John's standard word list. That way, I can show you exactly how it works. I don't think there's a verbose option for John. I don't. For some reason, I think there isn't a verbose. John can be very complicated. Again, there's single passes. It's how it's going to keep guessing at things. It creates what's called a pot file, and you can come back to it. You can let it run and then come back to it later. So we're going to do a John. I'm not going to use. Well, you're going to have to use the word list, so we'll use the word list. So we're going to use the word list. I wanted to show you how it goes through different iterations, but all right, word list. So we give it the word list again. Documents, pro2. Even though this is project 2, I'm sorry about that. Word list, and we called it pro2 pass. All right, and then I'm going to give it the file we're going to hit, which is good to go. Oh, did I put a space? Or dash. There you go. Away it goes. It's going to be super quick, and this is why I wanted to use its normal one. It came up with a password for MSF admin as being good luck. All right. Again, I can come back to this. Now, it's funny because I did a word list, it was super quick. If I just do John and I tell it, John, use good to go, and use its own password, it's actually going to try to figure out everyone. It's going to use its own word list down here, and it's just going to keep going until it figures it. Actually doing random guesses at some point. So it will try to find passwords. It'll eventually come up and tell you it found a couple passwords. So it's a very powerful thing. It'll actually start just randomly guessing at the end of that once it gets to the password list. So anyway, your password's not good luck. You're going to have to figure out what that is. Right. Close this. Anyway, so John's a very powerful tool. You can spend a lot of time reading up on it, figuring out what it's doing. As you can see, it actually figured out that's MD5. The hash type is MD5 crypt, and it's going to run through and figure out what that is. Eventually, it should come up with giving us some answers. It found only current salts. It's doing a single pass rate, which means it's only going to guess one time and move on. Anyway, again, John the Ripper is very powerful. You can read up on it, and it could go for it'll actually go rather longly trying to figure this out. And I never found the root password. I've just never let it go very long. It's a session. It keeps it in what's called a pot file. If you ever want to see. Actually, I have to go into the file, I believe. Well, let's try it. I think this will fail because good to go it doesn't see for good to go. And if I do a status, yeah, or show, does it show? Yeah, there you go. So I got to so I'm gonna have to cd into documents, wordless, not wordless, pro2. Now I do wordless, and then cd into hashes. Oh, not wordless though. That's why. Cd into hashes here. There we go. And then I do the good to go. So I do John. Good to go. Is it status or show? Now I'm doubting myself. One or the other though. Rules, restore, standout, status. It is status. Okay. And then so I do John, give me your status, dash status on the good to go file, and it's actually going to show me what it's found so far. Oh, I didn't like that. Oh, show. There is a show. Okay. Sorry. There you go. This is what's found so far. All right. Oh, it did find user. User's user. Not the password for user is user. Sys is Batman. The password Sys is Batman. So, anyway, fun stuff. It hasn't found root though, and I could let this run indefinitely to try to figure out root. So, John's a powerful program. All right, but there you go. That's everything you need to do to finish Project 3. So again, what you're going to submit is both your word lists, the Hydra command that you run, the John the Ripper command you ran, and finally the server's administrator and username and password, which you should be able to figure out which one is the administrator. By a couple of ways. All right. If you run into any other problems or anything, let me know, and I will do my best to help you out. All right. Talk to you later.